Hello Power Rangers fans, and welcome back to my Power Month series here on Toku Topics. Today, as evident by this figure that's standing here by himself, we're talking about Power Rangers Zeo, but not specifically this figure all that much. But I just wanted to show him off because he's just a fun little guy that I got for $10 at a flea market, which I'm failing to show you. Look at him. So, just kind of by himself, he's very loose. He doesn't have any of his accessories. He's just kind of existing. He's very squeaky, so I had to rescue him. He's a little beat up and everything like that, but you know what? Today I figured it's kind of the day of lonely Zeo items, and what I mean by that is that he was just there by himself, the only Zeo Ranger, no accessories, no way to defend himself, kind of sort of the encompassing vibe of we'll fight giant monsters for food, in my opinion, so I had to save him. But speaking of lonesome things, as some packing peanuts are already flying out of here, I finally picked one of these up on eBay because I see it a lot, and it seems like nobody wants this. So I do. I want one. And I did not pay that much for it for being a old retro Zord in technicality. So let me try to carefully grab this without getting packing peanuts all over the place. So it's very nicely wrapped in this big ball of tinfoil. This is not tinfoil, bubble wrap. Ta-da! The Warrior Wheel. So the Warrior Wheel is certainly an item. I kind of love it, honestly. Like, I've seen this before. I remember a lot of times I saw this in the very, very, very good videos from JT Mitchell here on YouTube that were the, like, Power Rangers season Zord videos that went through everything from a season of Power Rangers Zord-wise. And I remember seeing the Warrior Wheel in that video and always thinking, what a fun little guy. And I see it on eBay a lot for pretty cheap, pretty good condition. There's really nothing you can, like, lose with this guy, technically. The only thing you could really kind of get damaged is, of course, the whole auto-morphing gimmick. And, of course, also all the chrome here. But honestly, I mean, is it a little beat up? Yeah, but it is a 25-year-old toy. More than 25 years old, actually, at this point. And so I would expect really nothing less. But honestly, the chrome is not that beat up, especially the silver part of it. The gold is a little bit in the middle there, but I still really like it. And it makes me feel like it has some sort of, like, Zeo badge or something like that. Like, it's like, you know, you're going to present it like, I'm part of the Zeo team or something like that. And it's just a fun toy. And it has these pegs down here for it to auto-morph into the Warrior Wheel Warrior mode, I guess. And it's a weird Zord, because it is technically a Zord, but it's not in a traditional sense to where it can combine with anything. It doesn't really do all that much, but it is still a cool toy nonetheless. So let's see, is it going to work? It did! I just did it backwards. So there is the Warrior Wheel in Warrior mode. And that's about it. So that's about all this toy can do. But it is still cool nonetheless. I like the detail of it. You can't split the legs apart or anything like that. And he's just going to kind of stand there and sort of kind of T-pose on you, depending on how you have it all positioned. But he's a fun little dude. Like, how would you not just want to have this on your collection, on your shelf, next to a Zeo Red or anything else from Zeo? So this whole series, I wanted to do some just like kind of weird, obscure videos focusing on some of the more interesting aspects of Power Rangers toys from over the years. And I think Zeo is a really interesting one because the Zeo toy line had some amazing pieces like Pyramidas that were just giant and huge. And I would love to own a Pyramidas someday, but it's hard to find without that like gold tip of the pyramid missing and stuff like that. And it's just so massive. And then you have things like the Warrior Wheel, which is like not that expensive. I think I paid less than $25 for this or something like that. It was less than $30 for sure. And for being, you know, so old and being honestly in pretty much perfect condition, all things considered, I think it's great. I think it's really good. And then you can find like things like this, like a $10 Zeo figure. Like, of course, it always depends on where you're looking and what you're looking for. But if you want to have some weird, obscure, fun Power Ranger toys in your collection that are kind of vintage at this point, you can definitely do that. And also do the fact that back in this era of time, these were essentially the same molds as their Sentai counterparts. This is basically the whatever it was called from O-Ranger, which the name is up on the screen here at some point. But it was not used in Zeo all that much. It's kind of like the Defender Wheel, which was very similar to this, that had a Zeo Red in the show that he would like stand in and they would like launch him. weird wheel-related things in Zeo for some reason, or I guess in O-Ranger. Maybe that's where the O comes from. I know it's from King, but, you know, fun things. So, like, you know, if you want to transform him back into a wheel, so you just have to fold his little head down. You're going to fold this entire back piece up like that, and then fold in the arms, which can be a little tricky. And there we go. And then I believe if we want to have him pop up the correct way, it's got to be facing this way. There we go. So, like, that's just a fun thing to do as a little dust flies out of it. But, like, I love the Warrior Wheel. I think it's a really great toy. And there's really no articulation. You can't move anything there. It's just a thing that pops up. And it's one of those things where it's a real testament to how nice and constructed the old Bandai toys used to be. Because the fact that this is so old and, like, there's no broken clips and stuff on it, and they can still function and just have some paint chips a little bit on the chrome and everything, which is to be expected, is pretty great. Because then you have things like the Astro Megazord from Hasbro these days that are broken out of the box. And they just kind of, they don't really make toys like they used to. And so it's fun to track down the older stuff and just have some fun with it. So that's all we wanted to talk about here today for Power Rangers Zeo as part of my Power Month series. So let me know down in the comments below. Did you get the Warrior Wheel? Do you have some Zeo figures that actually have their accessories and everything? Is there anything from the Zeo toy line that you collected? Because I think it's one of the more interesting ones. Because it's also one of the ones that actually got a few collector items later on. Because compared to Mighty Morphin, it's probably the only other marketable season that is like close to popularity levels of Mighty Morphin, but still not quite there. So it's kind of this weird gray area to where they sometimes revisit it for things, even the Hasbro era has, but we don't see it all that much. So I'd love to know your guys' thoughts about the Zeo toy line down in the comments below. And with that, that is going to do it for my 4th video on Power Rangers Zeo for my Power Month series here on Toku Topics. And of course, until next time, you guys can follow me on Twitter at LivingRangerKey or LennyFigPR, and I'll see you all later. To wrap up this video, I'd like to thank my $5 and above patrons: Jurassic Samurai, Robert Browning, Static Thunder, Brendan Overland, Maji Yellow, MCPC Studios, Comics 1017, James Darty, Eric Berry, Matthew Thorne, Josh Landry, Pyramidus, CBT Tesla, Cross SCV, Caboose Ed, Socket Monsters, Anthony Love, Daniel Pika, Hella Geo, Thrasher, Jesus Prime, Uni Warrior Thomas, and Lewis Carnes. You can support Toku Topics for as little as $1 a month on my Patreon, linked in the description below.